So welcome to the 2018 International Bernese Ladies Cup, coming to you from the curling Ban Almend here in Bern, Switzerland. I'm Richard Harding, and with me this evening is Mark Callan, and we're going to bring you live coverage of the game between Victoria Moiseeva and Sophie Jackson from Scotland. Moiseeva from Russia, of course. These are the lineups: Victoria Moiseeva, Yulia Gusieva, Galina Arsenkina, and Yulia Portunova. And for the Scottish team, that's the Russians. And the Scottish team: Sophie Jackson, Naomi Brown,
Good, Soph. Good.
at skip and third, Millie Smith and Sophie Sinclair at second and lead. So Russia begins this game.
Чуть-чуть просто сама. Хорошо. Он почти не отличается от всех просто.
So the opening stone from the Russian team, Moiseeva, just sailing through the back of the house. Early part of the game, the teams will just be trying to find the feet, just get used to the speed of the ice, get used to the curl.
Good, so. That's it. Got exact same log to hog. Good. Sweet.
So team Moiseeva at the moment in the tour rankings are in the top 25. They're actually number 24, and Sophie Jackson, she comes in at number 73 in the rankings. So quite a split between the two teams in terms of their ranking position. We'll see how that translates onto on-ice performance tonight.
And both of the teams, as you can see from the scoreboard, just above the rink number is which knockout section they are in, and these two teams have won all three of their opening games and now meet each other, and this win will take them into the last 8, or one of them into the last 8. Moiseeva, of course, vastly more experienced than Sophie Jackson, having won the European Championship last year, 2016 in Glasgow. So Galina Arsenkina at second.
Kind of quiet start to this first end. All the stones staying in the house and just take out shots being played. So unless there's an error or a miss, then it could well be heading towards a blank end at this time, this first end.
Second stone for Galina Arsenkina.
Смотрите,
Moiseeva quite happy just to play this end in the house at this stage. So just hoping to roll in, but not. So Moiseeva indicating to try and come behind this stone now that it's safely not in the house.
So the attempt to come around the back of that guard failed, was ticking it, which sends the stone spinning into the center of the house, leaving it wide open, allowing Jackson to elect to remove it. So once again, the house looking empty. This is rapidly heading towards I think a blank end. As neither team has really had the opportunity to try and build anything, with the game being played entirely in the house.
Well, it's had a lot of hits down it, so it might run for a while, but then when it comes off the line, come down. Probably similar to my draw shot. Yeah.
So the first of the skip stones in this end.
Hold and straight. Whoa. Whoa.
Calling the sweepers off. Seems to have a bit of running in it, and Moiseeva thinks she can sweep this one through. I think it might even go there on its own, which it does.
Well, I think the teams have just slightly misread the speed here. It's quite often when you come to the end of the day, the ice, especially with a lot of play on it, the ice gets a bit slower, but ahead of this game there was extra time put in place to do a big job of getting it nice and fresh, and so I think it's just a fraction keener than they think it is. So it's Yulia Portunova who is actually in the house giving the direction here for Moiseeva. And it will be Arsen, Kina and Guseva who are ready to sweep and will sweep. So just trying to get round this corner guard. Again, make it tough for Sophie Jackson to blank the end. Well, they really lost that. Should just have kept sweeping and they would have been round because the weight was fine. So they should have been sweeping that all the way.
Нет, просто к тому, что здесь даже если кажется, что идет хорошо, значит он врезается.
Still a chance though for Moiseeva to get 2 shots here. No longer. So a good hit from Sophie Jackson there.
Может быть, ну побольше не хочется ставить сильно. Пошире не хочется.
And now Moiseeva will be looking for a hit and run with this. To blank the end deliberately so that they can have a go at trying to score more than 1 point when they have the last stone advantage. Going into end 2.
Хотя, может, прад побольше, потому что там, конечно, сильно валит.
Last stone of the end. Moiseeva throwing. Pretty big weight. We'll just appeal the red stone that's in the house out and go herself. And she achieves that. Therefore blanking the end. But at the end of the first end, it's a blank. So the score remains 0-0. And Moiseeva retains the hammer for the second end.
Посмотрим, что они будут. Мы не начинаем.
So a kind of cagey start by both teams to the start of this game, and keeping it pretty clear and leaving the opportunity to blank. Moiseeva, of course, retaining the hammer, will be looking to try and build, get a better score in the next end, trying to get 2 at least. What you see there on screen, World Curling Tour, Facebook, Twitter, and this live broadcast being produced with partnerships with World Curling TV, World Curling Tour. You can check them out on the YouTube channel. All the results, all the information is on www.worldcurl.com. You can keep up to date with all the results, all the games here, as well as the games that are playing this weekend, Dutch Masters Mixed Doubles in Zoetermeer. All that information is on the website.
Good throw. Good. Nice throw. Great.
So, put the stone straight in the middle of the house, and Moiseeva calls for a corner guard. So, hopefully we'll get a bit of action in this end.
Линии пока побольше. 6. Линия будет хорошо. Сам нельзя. Ой, нет. 15-20. Вообще не должен зайти, конечно.
Это волос лежит? Галь.
Corner guard put up. It's in the free guard zone, so Jackson elects to try and cover her own stone that's sitting roughly on the button by guarding. She obviously can't take the Team Moiseeva stone out until 4 stones have been played.
Looks like it's coming down. Millie's. Hard, Millie. Hard.
Sweeping this one quite hard, just to get across the line to provide the
Good
cover.
throw. Good. Nice throw.
So a good shot there, and the beginnings of perhaps an end of attack play rather than defensive.
Подождать, чуть-чуть подождать. Внимательно вес. Вес надо бы. Можно.
Moiseeva just calling to follow this round.
Воу, валит плохо, валит. Нет, нельзя.
We don't want that one to bounce off,
Молодец.
and it's pretty good there
Можно поменьше тут стать.
from Galina Arsenkina.
Bumping it's fine.
So Jackson elects to play the same shot, or calls for the same shot. Follow this one round, sit right on top of the yellow counter that's right on the button.
9,
8, 10. You don't need to curl a long way.
9.
This one not touching it at all, so suggesting that's maybe a little heavy and a little wide. And that's certainly the case as it sails through the house. So Moiseeva again wants to put one right on top of her own yellow, weld it together, freeze it. Once again, a little signal there that I think it might be a little bit heavy, but it's got to curl a fair bit, and it's starting to curl now as the stone hits the break point.
Свип держать. Давай. О, уже очень сильно выделено.
And that one curls quite a bit more, I think, than they're expecting, but it was played with a very soft handle. And that means that it was the stone, although turning to make it curl in that direction, was not turning very quickly. And with these stones being super aggressive on this ice, then they move a lot. And if you play a lazy or soft handle, then you get a lot more curl out of the stone. And there was a classic example of that.
7, 6. Close line. Way only. 7, 8. Hard.
So Millie Smith also trying to follow this, but
Hard.
definitely doesn't want to be too short.
Gotta go.
Well, this looks pretty good
Hard.
to be right onto the face of that second of the two Russian counters.
Он отсюда может сниматься. Просто мы можем снять гард, и это будет двойной. А что вот на весе?
So are you following this, Richard? You're Russian up to speed?
Потому что отсюда он снимается двойным. Ну попробуем отсюда. Если что, свой немного.
He's quite happy to sit in front. Moiseeva at the moment lying. But lots of potential options available here. But it looks like she's just wanting to block up the drawing on this side and potentially block Jackson from having a takeout opportunity and lifting both yellow counters out.
Линия будет легко. Свип. Свип. 8. Свип, линия очень. 12. Свип. 12. Свип.
Working this one quite hard. It's got to get past the guard, and it's not going to do it. But she might have got away with that, blocking that line in.
Больше сел.
Not really sure. Go like top 12.
О,
Like top 12. Yeah.
Well, I think Sophie Jackson needs to do something about this, because if she wants to try and go for a steal of a point, she could, on the other hand, be quite happy just to make sure Moiseeva only gets one here by blocking everything up.
I think the second option is one that's being adopted at the moment.
Could be easier at this stage of the proceedings.
Yeah. You know, let Moiseeva take a one, get the hammer, and then try build something in the next end. This one looks a little rapid.
Quite speedy.
мы не можем снять вот это.
not too good.
That one drifting through.
And Sophie Jackson was the skip for the Scottish team at the World Juniors, which was held last year in the arena in Pyeongchang, or Gangneung actually, where the Winter Olympics will be staged next month. Now rapidly approaching. And there are several of the teams playing in this event here in Bern who will be heading off to the Winter Olympics to represent their countries,
including Moiseeva. So a fair amount of discussion there. And it looks like she's wanting to take this guard away.
I wonder whether there isn't another shot to come round on the in-turn, tap that yellow one into lie 2. Problem with it is it probably pushes the other one out into the open, and the other one that's lying the first shot is such a good shot at the moment, you don't want to spoil it in any way. Yeah. But she does need to try to get 2, of course.
I think this might be a two-stage attack here. Leave it rip the guard off, leave it more open to give her an opportunity to get in, but it is also dangerous because she could disturb the existing setup like that, and well, that's not ideal.
So we get another look at this, and nearly all the stones, in fact all of the stones, moved somewhere, several of them out of play or to further away parts of the house. You can see it once more here. Certainly changed the play, no doubt about that. All 5 stones on the move.
Yes.
And nothing now in the 4-foot circle. Chance though for Naomi Brown to put a little bit of pressure on here to get round the yellow Russian counters.
Oh, and it's a little bit tight. It's going to bump the guard.
And there's a lot of teams that are under icing or playing tight, catching the guards. And to be fair, that was also very, very light. She needed to be a lot more weight to get past the guard and into the house. I think there might have been a case for drawing down the other side there, and if you'd ended up short, you'd have been guarding your stone. But choosing not to do that.
Moiseeva trying to swing one in here behind those centre guards. Offer some protection. Try and give her a chance to work in getting a 2. So working this one really hard. Line looks good. Weight looks good. You can see that coming around. A really great shot there. Coming round the guard. Straight onto the centre line, top of the 4-foot. Really well played. Well swept.
So good play there. And the Moiseeva team now lie first and third shots in the house here. These 2 yellows on the right as we look at them.
Just less than my draw shot.
It looks like Jackson is attempting to follow this.
Same speed as my draw shot, or a bit quicker. Yeah. I think I turned that. Yep. Yep. Hard line. Hard.
Oh, they're having to really go with this one. Again, it's a little light and it's going to crash into the guard. So it's Not really helping our search there for a steal at this end.
Ну, он полностью видно,
And it now blocks the way into.
Я думаю, что контролом сложно будет оставить, надо будет бортом все-таки делать.
Давай борт. Он здесь более-менее идет по весу.
Нам, конечно, если
На 4 можно.
So big opportunity for Moiseeva,
Клиром
the Moiseeva team to make an impact here
прям сильно. Может
конечно,
оставить.
оставить. Но единственное,
by
если мы вот так
hitting
сделаем,
and
то
rolling
это
on that red stone belonging to the
она то же
Team
самое
Jackson,
может.
rolling into the middle,
Давай.
Давай
and
на
they will be
4.
behind the
Мне 4
cover.
нравится.
4-5.
Я думаю, что вот так.
Yep, behind the great wall of granite that's now sitting out in
На
front.
5, да?
На 4-5.
4-5.
Он
Which we
хорошо
can't see from
валит.
this shot, but above our, at the top of the picture, there are several guards out in front, and this red stone lying second shot will be removed, and hopefully they will, from their
На
perspective, they will
4-5.
roll in behind all these guards as we see them now.
То есть борт будет 4. Хорошо. Ну, мне кажется, что такая щетка нормальная. Хочется, конечно, уже встать. Но, да, да.
So the first stone here of Moiseeva in this second end. Great chance to
Нет, 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 нет.
jump into a bit of a lead here at this end.
Галя, Галя.
She has last stone advantage.
Очень надо. Очень, да. Хорошо идем.
Давай, 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 давай.
Вали.
Well, just a bit wide, but it's not all bad. Rolls out to the wing to lie third shot, ahead of the one at the back of the house, the red one there.
Ага, а было бы сильнее? Ага.
So the Russians will lie three at this end. Sophie Jackson does not have last stone, only 2 stones remaining here. Looking at ways of trying to score a 2 or hit and roll in behind to lie second shot to
Probably the same as the last.
count down the number of stones that the Russians can get here, because they're looking good for 2 or 3 at this point.
Hit and roll,
So a big hit and roll.
roll.
So it's
like
a,
that
it's a
eye?
tough shot. Yeah, she can make the hit for sure, but then it's controlling the roll. Ideally, she wants to come right across behind that yellow counter and sit in the right on the button. Judging that is tough, but certainly she wants to be within that 4-foot area to try and limit the damage and maybe restrict Moiseeva to a single.
So the closer she can end up with this stone to the middle, guarded, the better from her perspective.
Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Yes! Hard, hard, hard! Go, go, go!
Oh, they should have been on that sooner.
So I think it's still, the stone is pretty much open and gives Moiseeva a kind of opportunity to score 3 here.
Давай такой же.
And they couldn't really go wrong by sweeping all the way there, because if it curled less and they got more of a roll, then the back yellow was probably going to catch it on the way out. So, opportunity to reduce the point score against
То же самое.
them has been
Хорошо.
lost by Team Jackson. So the yellow stone at the top of the screen there still providing a little bit of a guard when it comes to you sitting in the hack at the other end and looking at it. You'll definitely see that partly in the way. But a big chance here for a takeout if you can trust the ice and the line you're going to throw. A takeout.
Пока идет шире,
And
легко.
she set this one back a bit, I think.
Валить! Валить!
It's
Вали, вали,
Might be
вали,
coming
вали,
now though.
вали,
Yeah,
вали,
it looks
вали,
okay.
вали,
It looks quite nice. It's controlled weight, controlled sweeping,
And she will make it. And
indeed.
with that controlled weight takeout, Victoria Moiseeva and her team will pick up a 3-point end and go ahead in this game.
Показалось, что я сильнее толкнулась, и я его так прям еду.
Выглядело хорошо, да. Спереди.
Earlier. Feels like it swings earlier on hits than before.
So there's a great shot. The scores on the screen. Moiseeva, confirmed there, is taking a 3 in the second end for a 3-0 advantage after 2 ends. And we see this shot of a beautiful club here in Bern. 8 sheets, all 8 sheets in action at the moment. And you can see from we're looking at from the away end, and you can see the restaurant on the ground floor and the viewing gallery on the top, giving the people that have come along to watch a good view of the proceedings. And just a reminder that you can follow everything that's happening, all the scores, all the results, all the facts and figures on www.worldcurl.com. Well, we start now, third end. Jackson now has the hammer, now has the last stone in this end, so we'll be very keen to try and reduce this 3-0 deficit. Moiseeva, of course, will be looking to try and steal and add to her total, or at the very least restrict Jackson to a 1, so that she can get the hammer back for the next end. Sophie Sinclair gets this end underway for Team Jackson. Looking at a corner guard.
Hard, Millie. Hard.
For Team Jackson here, the more stones in play for them, it's good. Gives them more opportunity to hide behind something and try and build an end. Team Moiseeva, of course, wants to try and block up the middle so that it doesn't give Jackson the opportunity to get in and take any more than 1. Obviously, in the back of their heads, they're thinking about stealing so that they can get increase their advantage in this game. So the guard is called here. Yellow counters on the top of the forefoot, and they want to guard this. This has got to curl a long way.
Галя, валить! Давай. Можно вдвоем по весу. Давай. Еще. Воу.
So that's nicely judged. Moiseeva quite happy with that. And now Sophie Jackson is asking for a team to come round this corner guard and try and put something in the house. Tee high or just in front. Starting to curl now. Plenty of room past the guard.
Really swinging at the end there. Quite well placed though. So Arsentina tasked with removing that guard and taking her shooter out of play.
So having executed that shot as per request, now Millie Smith is given the job of putting the corner guard back on.
Sophie! Hey! Naomi, a wee bit, yep. Hard! Hard, Naomi, go! Hard!
That's pretty good. Pretty good attempt to put it back. And once again, Moiseeva will ask for it to be removed.
this could continue for a bit.
Yes, I think so.
It's Galina Arsenkina.
Да-да-да.
Second player for Moiseeva.
Юль, держи вот этот опять. Ага. Хорош, супер.
And once again, perfectly executed.
Ага, и он не останавливается от борта. Я не знаю, может мне, конечно, ловить.
This Russian team are full-time curlers. So no excuses, that's what that means. You can curl all day, every day, and fit enough to do it, then you can get pretty good at the game.
So it's a pretty impressive lineup in this tournament. The lineup includes world champions, former world champions, Olympic teams, all here trying to just get into the final stages of preparation for the Olympics coming up in Pyeongchang or Gangneung in February. So not very long to go there, and the preparations for that event will start at the end of January. And of course, for the first time there'll be a mixed doubles event in the Olympics. So I think there's quite a lot of interest in seeing how that plays out. And also interestingly, as the mixed doubles will actually start, the competition will start one day before the opening ceremony of the Olympics. So that's quite unusual as well. And curling, because of the length of the event of the mixed doubles and the men's and women's event, we'll have curling on every day through the Olympics. So there's going to be a big curling fest. If you're a curling fan, you'll get lots of curling to watch at the Olympics.
So this one's taken off. It's really curling a long, long way, and I don't think it's going to be, well, it'll be in sight line, but you can certainly get past that guard if you just play the shot with a little bit of ice. Probably more than that. What you don't want to do is miss on the outside. So Portunova going for this a big weight. Oh, she's picked it out.
Must admit, she did look somewhat relieved. I don't know if there were a little bit of concern about that shot missing completely, but anyway, job done. And now Sophie Jackson electing to bring this stone round and sit on top of the Russian counter. The yellow stone sitting on the forefoot. Wants to be up close to it. And this one this is looking a little bit light, and it's curling a lot, and it's going to crash into the guard. Effectively creating a double guard.
И они могут и с этой стороны потом завести, но все равно.
Да, она может отсюда, но как бы... Наверное, я бы встала вот так, потому что валит прилично.
Да, мне кажется, если что, его...
с этой стороны. Давай я буду делать вес где-то 8 футов начала. Если что, девки вотрут, если нет, поставим чуть выше.
Обсудите, может, если что, может наоборот, и он, если в конце сядет, или ничего страшного?
Ничего страшного. Нет, но лучше фриз, конечно. Я просто пока щетку не очень знаю. Ну, мы там не катали, но мне кажется, что там вот так же валить будет. Тем более у нас гард стоит чуть-чуть с этой стороны. Я даже думаю, может побольше встать. Да, я тоже думаю. Фриз хорошо, но лучше, если что, я буду делать где-то 8 до, а вы в отрёте.
So I think here we've got Moiseeva looking at trying to freeze her own yellow counter. She's a little short and puts a guard on. I don't think she'll be too concerned, but certainly going that way. She's sitting in the hack and she's giving her team a lot of instructions, a lot of information, so they know exactly what's on her mind.
Линия супер! Линия супер! Свип!
Working this one quite hard in these early stages. It starts to break now and curl. They're going to come right in on top. Yep, a pretty good effort. Pretty good effort. Quite happy with that. Still leaves this side of the button, or the forefoot open to come in, but it absolutely has to be perfect here. You want to swing around probably into just the back of the forefoot even. Try and put it in a line and give herself an opportunity to try and get more than one out of this end. And quite a lot of discussion going on between the team about the speed of the ice and whether they think it's any quicker or any slower than the last end that they played. So they're still adjusting to the ice speed and the curl.
Well, the Jackson team have struggled a lot more in both these last ends to just get the draw weight right. Moiseeva and her other three team members have got the draw weight more under control. Oh, that was the danger, it just bounced off it.
Yep, it did.
Sorry, I'm just being soft on the one side of the back.
Сейчас я посмотрю из колодки. Пилом просто.
So Moiseeva electing to try and remove this stone.
Ну, я думаю, так должно быть нормально. Я думаю, что он подвалит.
Well, at 3 up, and these two yellow counters in the front of the house lying nicely for them. That's the shot.
Не надо. Окей.
And she won't mind at all if the shooter runs out of play, or at least right to the back of the house.
Свип! Воу, воу! Воу! Легко!
Just 2 stones remaining here. This one and what's going to end up being a very good draw required from Sophie Jackson to outcount these 2 yellow Russian stones. So the force to a single point will definitely have to be made for the Jackson team to stick around in this game. If they don't outdraw that single, it'll be a 5-0 deficit for them. And that's didn't catch too much of that, but enough to send it out. So Jackson, struggling with her draw weight, has to make this one and outcount these 2 Russian counters. Very important draw shot here. It's open, there's nothing in the way.
She's signaling she thinks it's a little heavy.
Yeah, it looks a little heavy.
It's certainly motoring on at the moment. It has to curl a long way.
And stop.
And stop being the most important thing. It doesn't look like it's going to.
Good. Nice throw.
Oh, here we go. It's perfect. It didn't look like that as it crossed the hog line, but that's why I suppose they're down there and we're up here. So draws the button, secures our single to leave the score after 3 ends of Team Moiseeva 3, Team Jackson 1.
Вот. После 10 8 очень быстро проходит.
See some information on the page there on the screen, Facebook and Twitter. Get yourself along to our Facebook page and put a little like on it, sorry. And as we move off now into N4.
Lines there,
You can see from the screen here, it's Moiseeva 3, Jackson 1. Moiseeva has the hammer, or the last stone in this end.
Quite tight.
So she'll be looking to increase her advantage. Probably quite happy that she was able to restrict Jackson to a 1 in the previous end. And now we'll be looking for an opportunity to try and increase her lead.
So Julia Guzieva
8-5.
throwing the first stones for Moiseeva.
Пока чуть-чуть подождем.
Ну, 4 до,
Очень
4-6, 4
широко
до.
идет, широко. Нет, девочки, не садиться. Только Юля. Нет, давай, да, затирай. Да, надо за. Давай. Хорошо, долго прямо шел. Ага.
That one maybe just going a little bit deeper than she would have liked, giving the opportunity for Sinclair here
Lines there, tight. 6, 7, 7.
to freeze right in on top of it.
7. Back line, I like your belly base. Go. Yeah.
It needs to curl, it's coming now, and it's not going to curl enough, so maybe a little bump.
Okay.
Just moves it.
Давай лучше вот так.
Moiseeva signaling that she wants this red stone removed. So take out coming.
Контрол, легко. Свип! Да, отлично идет, да. Оу!
Воу. Нет. Супер.
Yeah, good shot.
Seems quite happy with that.
That's okay.
So both these stones in the back of the house, which is not ideal, giving the opportunity for the Scottish team to freeze onto them and lie the first shot. So the out-turn draw for Millie Smith, the one requested, hoping just to curl across and freeze the Russian counter, but it looks pretty high at the moment, pretty wide.
We're past that one.
It is not just wide, but too heavy as well.
Sorry, just
And
can't
they're
hear.
really struggling with the draw weight.
Yeah, it's quite a number of draws now that have come in that have just been more kind of backline to hack weight than absolute dead draw. But this one's not lacking some pace.
Хорошо.
Peel called, trying to move the center guard, and perfectly executed. So Moiseeva has 2 yellow counters in
Lines tight.
the house, and
Lines good. 2, 3.
Jackson wants to get something in play here, right up against the
Hard.
stone that's sitting at the back of the forefoot. But this side,
Whoa. Okay. Okay, Millie.
Again, Moiseeva elects to remove the guard.
Молодец.
And once again, we're in a kind of circle here that could go on for a while. But again, executed perfectly. Leaves the house wide open, 2 yellow counters. And as we count down the stones here, the opportunities for Jackson to avoid losing a 2 here are diminishing with every passing stone.
7, 8.
So another attempt. Draw weight.
Looked really heavy.
Ooh.
Yeah, light. Yep. Hard. Hard. Where? Hard. Hard, 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 hard. Hard,
It's
so.
curling a lot. And he's going to drift wide of the Russian counter, giving Moiseeva an opportunity to remove it and possibly just then
Либо вообще
flop
вот так.
inside or flop across to the other side, roll across to the other side and cover our other yellow stone.
8 чуть больше. 8.
From Team Jackson's point of view, there are increasing numbers of yellow counters in the house, and she's not seeming to make a great deal of impact at the moment in this end. So looks like she might be facing a damage limitation exercise.
Свип. О, свип. Воу. Воу. Ой, нет, 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 нет. Нет, 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 нет. Что-то я передержала чуть-чуть. Хорош.
Nicely played.
Yeah, good shot there from Portinova.
Normal? Yeah. Like this, hand.
So not calling for any more short stones now, going for the double takeout. Hoping to roll across in front of the what will then be the remaining Russian stone in the 8-foot circle.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh! 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 Okay.
Well, she manages the double, but spills her own stone. It rolls out.
Вот так дойти хорошо. В любое место.
So Moiseeva going for stone out in the edge of around in the 12-foot, trying to keep as much separation as possible between her yellow counters in the house to try and avoid giving Jackson the opportunity for a double takeout.
Мне кажется, хорошо выглядит.
And in doing this, if this is executed properly, then gives herself an ideal opportunity to take 2 in this end.
13-40. Нормально, нет. Должен умереть.
But
Хорош.
it hangs on.
Я поняла, спасибо. Молодец. Если девчонки бы сказали, я, наверное, еще подобавила, да?
Like this hand.
So
Heel.
stone
if we
running a
roll
little
over
deeper
to-
than Moiseeva would have liked, and gives Jackson the
Heel.
opportunity of possibly making the double. Has to hit the yellow counter beside
Yeah.
the broom, almost square, to give her
Like
the
that,
angle to
you
come
saw
across
more.
and try and
Like-
dislodge the other
Oh.
yellow counter at the back of the
Like a
12-foot.
half. Okay, even if we just roll over to it.
Well, you heard her say there, even if we just roll over to it, but actually if you just roll over to it and face it, it would be a much more challenging shot for Moiseeva with her next shot.
Close. Whoa. Oh, no, no. Oh, no. Carl.
A lot of rotation in the stone. Really,
It's not curling very much.
Okay.
she removes 1.
Doesn't help matters
Really
very
move
much
it
though,
all.
because Moiseeva can just draw the other side to lie 2 and be far, far away from that counter of hers already in the house.
Либо
параллельно вообще отлично. Хорошо. Это будет до, да? Туда получше идет, да? Ага, я поняла. Ну хорошо. Лучше 8, наверное. 8-5 мне как-то так. Чуть-чуть добавила. Тогда давайте лучше, да. Смотрите внимательно, идет неплохо. Если тилайт, то смотрите за.
Sweeping this one away. He seemed reasonably comfortable with it. Just about how far into the house it goes. She wants to make it to avoid any possibility of a double. And that's pretty well played. Nicely positioned.
Вообще он так и летит, и едет. Не, ну да. Ага. Офигеть, так вот прям. There. A bit more. Okay.
Actually,
So, interesting call here.
where did my one land in the last game? It kind of landed there, didn't it?
What, and this?
Only 2 stones remaining, and if she does not lock this
And
right
that's it,
onto the
there.
yellow stone,
Same as
Yeah.
and it's pretty easy to remove, there's a big chance of another 3-pointer going in the direction of the Moiseeva team.
Yep, this one has to be played absolutely perfectly.
It's the same ice we took in the last game. Doesn't look like a lot, but
There's a little bit of discussion with Team Jackson about the ice.
it's back it.
She's saying that she doesn't really think that's sufficient ice. But the broom is down, and she will play. She's our last stone. That's a very important stone, otherwise she certainly stands to lose 2, possibly even 3. Away. It's swinging a long way, and it looks a little bit light. And it's certainly gives Moiseeva an opportunity with a controlled weight to score 3 points here.
И очень даже неплохо
That's a
валит.
poor shot. In the circumstances, you've got to be up. Face the stone that you are trying to glue onto. So a pretty straightforward take out, and all that house to roll across onto
У Юли подвалил.
for a second 3-pointer in this game for Moiseeva. The last time she came down here, they scored a 3, and it's all set for another one.
Yeah.
Легко. Воу-воу-воу-воу-воу-воу.
Свип! 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 Оу!
Yeah,
Started
looked pretty
to curl.
comfortable.
Yep, started to curl now. She will hit it on the nose, use that area to roll across and pick up a 3-point end, and that takes
Спасибо, я
the
так что-то толкнулась.
Russian team into a 6-2 advantage
Толчок сам.
at the halfway stage. 6-1 advantage, I beg your pardon, at the halfway stage.
Подержался и потом повалил.
Ага. Ну я думала, что он точно не давали. То есть если что клиром как бы.
So it's a bit of a mountain to climb for Jackson to try and get back into this game. And you would expect a team with Moiseeva's experience to be able to hold on to this position and if you like, run for home. But you know, stranger things have happened. Still have to play it out. But it is. So there we see on the screen now. Score confirmed. Moiseeva scoring 3s in the second and fourth ends to Jackson's single in the third, giving Moiseeva a 6-1 lead after 4 ends, halfway point in this game.
So in number 5 commences,
Пока идет прилично
and we're not doing any statistics on this game, but if we were, I think the Moiseeva team would be scoring quite highly. They haven't missed much at all. By contrast, The Scots have really struggled to get the draw weight,
Отлично, отлично.
and all four of them have struggled to do that. So in the house, if you're, generally speaking, if you're ahead in the game, you want to play the game in the house. If you're behind, you want to play the game in front of the house so that you can come around the guards, try and get some points off the opposition.
Line's good.
And if you're trying to steal, you're trying to play the game towards the middle, and if you're trying to protect a lead, you want to play towards the edges, keep the 4-foot circle free if you need it for a draw shot. That's the basic tactics. After that, everything they do after that's added on to the basic principles, but that's what they're after.
Да, просто если сюда поставим, он меньше, ну, проще будет попасть, вот здесь они будут параллельно.
Centre line guard called.
This is the last major women's event before the Winter Olympics, apart from the
Пока очень широко.
Glenhill event in Scotland next week.
Да, валить очень. Давай, подвалить. Да, давай, Галь, еще. Будь супер, даже 12 лучше ниже. Давай, а то пока открыто. Можно полностью. Окей, хорошо. Ну, наверное, это все-таки просто вот
Nicely
этот
played.
больше валит.
That one's really tight. This one's really tight. So we'd have to go there. Tight. Tight. Has to be tight. Yep. Hard. Hard. Keep going. Hard. That's it.
So again, as you see, the Russians have set up the end beautifully with both the lead stones in the front, 12 foot and touching the 4-foot circle. Couldn't really get better when you're leading 6-1.
Нет.
Their job now is to clear all the red stones out of the front
Нет, хорошо.
without damaging the setup they've got.
Здесь лучше валит и...
Arsentina has had a lot of shots like that throughout this game. Played them well. And it's a long way back from 6-1. You've just got to keep plugging away. It's an even longer way back when your opponents are playing as well as Moiseeva is. And actually, in the other A Road qualification game tonight, this is the last 4 in the A Road. 2 of them, the winners, will both qualify for the quarterfinals. And that other game is between Sidorova, the second Russian team, and Felcher, past world champion. Felcher grabbing a 4-pointer in the third end to lead 5-1 over Sidorova. So Galina Arsenkina, another big weight shot from her.
Sorry.
Bit more damage than she planned, but nothing particularly adverse for them. So another corner guard being requested by Sophie Jackson. So not quite what they had in mind, but if you're going to peel them, you're bound to catch something else other than the shot you're peeling at times.
Lines tighter. Walk softer, release. Harder. Leave it there then, just over. Okay. Hey, Millie.
And this guard quite a long way out from the house. The problem with that is if you try to come around it, you get the chance to come around it. Because the ice is curling quite a lot, there's every prospect that your opposition can follow you around and tap you out. So Portinova,
Ой, нет, пока
Third.
сильно не валит.
is going for the peel.
Не, Юль, хорошо было.
Well,
Как
not
я
to the
вроде
plan.
стояла так же,
Missing
как
that
до
one
этого.
altogether.
Да, вроде отпустила.
So Naomi Brown just being asked to come around that corner guard.
Hard line. Where? Hard line. Hard line. Hard. Hard. Hard, hard, hard. Line's good. Hard, 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 hard.
Really having to work hard on this one.
Keep going, keep
But,
going. Hard, 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 hard.
it's-
Hard, 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 hard.
Well, nice
Good,
shot.
Naomi. That's it.
Yeah, they swept that a long way.
Good weight, good direction. Need a few more of these though.
So once again, Moiseeva looking to remove this.
Нет. Нет, 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 нет.
Just keeping it clean.
Хорош, супер.
Pulls a really nice double there. Just clearing everything and rolling the shooter right out against the boards. It's very, very well executed.
Either that or run there. I don't like
And
that.
it's interesting that many of the teams here in the Bernese ladies will reconvene in Scotland next week at the Glen Hill competition, which has been held in Braehead in Glasgow, which will be pretty much the final event, the final preparation event for the teams that are heading to the Olympics. It's a fairly impressive lineup.
5, 6. Where? Go round if it's heavy. Where? Can we go round?
Team Moiseeva, who are the featured game here, will also be part of the lineup in Scotland.
Good, Naomi.
Да. Из-под него будем снимать, нормально. Мы можем попробовать больше степ, ну вот так вот оставить.
Сюда будет, да.
Да.
Но все
Я бы
равно...
вот так стала сильным. Даже, да, вот так. Может быть, чуть-чуть больше. Мгм. Постараемся оставить шутер.
Moiseeva electing to try and just pick this out. But I don't think we'll be too concerned if everything goes.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa! Whoa! Нет!
And everything does go.
Да, там сложно было, видимо, оставить, он так отошел.
So with only the red stone in the front of your picture, near the World Curling Federation logo on the right hand side of the picture, as you see, offering any kind of potential for protection,
Yeah.
having to try and
that
swing
ice.
around behind it.
Yeah, or less.
yellow stone on the left being so wide, it's pretty impossible to come round it and still be in the house. So
The guard does, though, offer an opportunity to perhaps get 2 here from Jackson's
Sounds like it's got a
viewpoint.
bit.
She's got to get it so well protected that it forces Moiseeva into a miss.
Needs to curl. Where?
and this one's got a, looks like it's quite heavy.
Okay.
It's now beginning to dig in, slow down, but Moiseeva will take this as far back as she possibly can. And it's just hanging on and no more.
Sorry, I just launched it because I felt like, did you hear it?
So
Может быть, вот так,
So
например, как на
actually
две?
poses a bit of a nuisance to Moiseeva, this one.
Давай вот так на 0, да.
He tried to
Да,
take it out
согласна.
from the outside in
Может
the
быть,
way,
даже чуть побольше на 0. Да, можно.
and there is that one
Можно
guard
побольше
there,
на 0.
which is a bit of a nuisance. You don't want to curl onto the guard. So any way of missing this gives Jackson the chance to draw for 2, and you might remember earlier on in the game she failed on a critical draw in the early end, in the second end.
Ну, мне кажется, что он должен там подвалить.
So just trying to remove this stone from play. I think she can see pretty much all of it, if not all of it. It's not really hiding behind the guard, it's come out the other side.
Sweep! 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 Sweep!
They're on to this one quickly.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I think they have a good looking line. Yeah, it will hit and roll out.
Он в один момент ощущение было даже как будто он наехал. Ну, как бы понятно, что не наехал, но просто он начал вообще... вот
So
так
what to do?
крутить.
Draw for 1, narrow the score to 6-2 and lose the last stone advantage? Or throw it through the back and try and get more than 1 in the next end? After this end, there are 3 more ends of regulation play to try and get back into this game.
And I think in answer to your question, Richard, it looks like they've elected to take 1. So the last stone of the 5th end.
Felt a wee bit heavy.
All yours.
Just keeping it clean. Seem pretty comfortable with the weight.
One.
Yeah, it will be a draw to the forefoot and
Молодцы, отлично. Хороший энд.
a single point
Да. Сразу все, потом...
for the young Scottish team. That will narrow the score to 6-2,
Пока,
but
ну,
with
это нет
that single, they
13-80.
do lose the advantage of the last stone coming down the 7th end.
Или бы разъяснили бы на край.
There we see on screen now, score confirmed. We're at the end of the 5th end. Moiseeva leading 6-2. Obviously now gets the hammer back, and will be looking to try and put this game, which may well already be beyond the reach of Jackson, but she want to be absolutely sure and make sure she drives home the advantage that she currently has
Line tight.
in an attempt to secure the win here.
Heavy. Three. Line's really tight. Yours, Millie. Needs to go a wee bit.
So Team Jackson,
Very good
they don't
there.
have the last stone advantage. They don't have the hammer, so they're trying to put on a centre guard, which they pretty much do,
Ты 7 хочешь?
in a nice position.
Давай 7-6, не 7-8.
So the 7th end,
О, легко. Свип. О, отличный
beg
вес.
your pardon, 6th end,
О, отличный вес. Нет,
commencing
нет, нет, нет. Ай, по-моему, чуть-чуть.
with that guard,
Хорош.
and the
Так,
attempt is
казалось,
to
что
tick that
бычок клюнет,
to the
клюнет,
side,
прям хорошо было.
roll the shooter, failing, so the guard just remains there. Sophie Jackson now has to try to make something of this 4-shot deficit.
Please, nice. 1, 2. Okay, line tight again. Just one. Oh. Naomi, if anyone. Leave it, Naomi, yep. Yep. Okay, good throw. Good. Nice throw.
So centre guard put on, and once again I think Moiseeva is looking for the tick shot, just to try and keep the centre open, or open it up as much as she possibly can.
Well, she's not really interested in too much more attacking play. She's quite happy to defend her 4-point lead with last stone advantage.
Пока нет, ждем. Вали. Вали,
This one looks a bit
заденем,
closer.
конечно, но мало.
Oh, just gets a little tick, just enough to move it off the centre line.
Вести было неудобно, потому что он ровно вставал туда, где нам снимать надо было.
And the shooter actually rolls into the back of the 12-foot and hangs about, so that might prove useful for Moiseeva later in the end.
Line's good. Line's good. 5. Line's good. 5, 4. 4. 3. Hold it. No. Okay, good.
So Jackson elects to put the centre guard back, and of course now Moiseeva will go into absolute clearing mode. Let's get everything out of there, hoping here to try and even lift the double. Wants to keep the centre open, wants to maximise her chances of scoring. And trying to build on her 4-point advantage. This one's coming with some speed, almost have a vapor trail on the back of it, and clears the two centre guards and rolls the shooter to the wing as well. So that's a pretty good try.
So a good shot there from Arsentina.
Line good. Similar to line. 2, 2. Hard good. 1, 2. Hard.
So that's going to try and replace the centre guard, just get it across the hog line so that it's in play, the black line on your screen. The stone has to fully cross that to be in play,
Okay.
and it does so. But of course it doesn't leave much separation between those two red counters, giving Moiseeva again an opportunity to try and remove them, which she will for sure try to take.
So it'll be the firepower of Galina Arsentina.
And once again, well executed, although this red is spinning significantly. Might grab the ice. The stones here are very aggressive, and yes, it does, as you see at the end. Aggressive stones, just with the spin, as the spin speed reduces, he gets an opportunity to grip the ice, and you saw the result there where it actually just spun it into the edge of the 12-foot.
I think go round it if we're going that way.
Conditions have been pretty consistent here. Credit to Stefan Roethlisberger, the chief ice technician here in Bern. Beautiful 8-sheet club. And this is with so many games, 32 teams, triple knockout. There's a lot of games. It is a tough job to keep the ice conditions consistent. And Stefan and his small team have been doing a great job in that respect. So Team Jackson get one round the guard and attempt to get right back to that yellow Russian counter. It's not a bad effort. Moiseeva electing to follow it. Sweepers pounce on that one straight out of her hand. Great shot there of a rock coming down. And interestingly, just been asked a question about what are the red markings you're seeing on the striking band of some of the stones. Well, you'll notice on the right of your picture now there's a small red wooden barrier that's acting as a divider between the sheets, and it's got tape on it. And when the stones are hitting this barrier, they're taking a little bit of the tape or the colour from the tape, and it's marking the striking bands slightly. So you'll see the stones that have hit the barrier more because there's more red on them. But at the end of the competition, that'll just be cleaned off. So it's not doing the stones or indeed the barrier any damage. So a little group of stones now forming behind the tee line. Another great replay shot here. Ice level.
Yeah, it's actually a good result because it shifted the second red across to be locked onto the back stone of the Russians and separated them a bit. And the yellow one bounced in front of that red one after it came off the cluster.
Coming in, just trying to move things around a little bit.
Хорошо. Он что-то перестал вообще валить там. Мы стояли-то вот. Не очень так.
I was going to say corner freeze. Yeah, but if you ever leave it there, yeah. Just guard, guard. Yeah. There.
So, talking about putting a corner freeze on that front yellow stone on the edge of the forefoot, just in front of the tee line. The Scots have struggled with their draw weight quite a lot through this game. And a freeze, of course, is one of the toughest shots to play in curling. But she has to try it here in order to try and get anything out of this end. Obviously, Team Jackson very keen to try and contain Moiseeva and do what they possibly can to stop her increasing her lead. Given that Moiseeva does have the hammer in this end and therefore the last stone advantage. Jackson with the first of her two stones.
Hard line. Says here. Yep. Hard, hard. Hard, hard. Hard, hard. Whoa, whoa. Let it stop. Over and up. Okay.
So once again, struggling with her draw weight.
I think it's too much ice.
но роги нелегкие вообще. В принципе, 2 гарда неплохо снять, да? Потому что у нее здесь пила особо нет, у нее
A little bit of discussion here with
да, со своими.
Moiseeva team, who's deciding on what to do. And just for some interesting information that the stones that they're using here, case stones, but the most important factor for these teams that the stones are the same specification of stones that they will be using in the Olympics. So once again, it's good for the teams to be practicing with the same specification stones that we'll use in Pyeongchang next month. And these stones actually have 2 running surfaces, one that's actually on the ice at the moment and one underneath the handle, so the stone can actually be flipped over and used on the other side. Gives a lot of flexibility to curling clubs because they have different specifications on each side if they like. Here you see from that shot there's a little white scribe line just above the striking band as Victoria releases, and that tells us the stone is on the A side.
Well, bit of a miss there.
Yeah,
Shuffled these around a little bit, but they're still in play, and therefore of some use to Sophie Jackson.
I think that's really the first time in the game that Moisieva's been a little bit wild. But we'll have to see now whether Team Jackson, with their last stone in this end, can capitalise on it.
Well, they've got to try and conjure up the steel of that red stone lying in the back of the 4-foot circle, which belongs to them. Only 2 stones remaining to go here, so they're looking for a useful guard that makes it really tough to get at. To remove the red one, which is probably some kind of raise they will attempt, but we'll come to that in a moment. Can she get the good guard on?
Line's good. Millie for line. Yep. Hard. Hard.
So the line and the weight here important.
Oh, no. Sit up.
It's really carving away.
Well, they just heard somebody saying there, pick up, as if it caught something and just pulled across. I'm not sure if it picked up. I think that's just what these stones do, they curl.
8-5, да, где-нибудь? 8-5.
It was a good enough shot though to force Moiseeva to come and just draw for a single point to outcount that first red handle stone. So this for a single.
Полностью 4. Пока идет как-то посильнее. 2 фута валит. 2 фута. 2 фута.
Just keeping this one clean and working it a little harder now. It looks pretty good.
Well, a great draw shot that is. Right to the button for the single point. And with that count, the Russian team of
Whoa,
Victoria
shake hands.
Moiseeva pick up another point and they win this game 7 shots to 2. They will qualify into the quarterfinals, and the Jackson team will move down into the B road. Just remember, they can go to the C road as well, so they've got 2 more lives before they're out, and they're relatively far advanced in the B road when they join it because they've been successful with 3 wins before this game in the A road. So 7 shots to 2, the final score, with Victoria Moiseeva and her team, European champions 2016, marching into the quarterfinals. On account of that win, they have won 4 games on the trot to get into these quarterfinal positions, or the first of the quarterfinal positions.
So pretty steady performance by Moiseeva. Just controlled that game from the outset. Score of 3 in the second end just kind of set the tone for the game. Controlled it from then on in, and then picking up a second 3 in the fourth was really probably the nail in the coffin for Team Jackson. And after 6 ends, they run out 7-2 winners. So it's got to be considered a good day at the office for Moiseeva.
So in the first end, it ended up being a blank after Moiseeva hit and rolled out with that shot. And in end number 2, there's a chance there for the Scottish team to roll in behind the cover, but when they left it open, Moiseeva was able to hit and stick for 3, jump into a 3-1 lead. Another look at that shot, which gave them their 3-pointer. In the next end, it was Jackson who drew the button to outcount those 2 threatening Russian stones. Narrow the score to 3-1, and in the fourth end, the stones all disappearing, but not enough of them as far as Jackson was concerned. And with that hit and roll, Moiseeva picked up 3 more for a 6-2 advantage. And here in the fifth, she had a hit and roll out. And then with her last stone, she hit and rolled again. And Jackson decided just to take the single point, try and narrow the score, which she did. 6 shots to 2, the scoreline at that point. In the sixth end, Moiseeva picked up a single point. With that lovely draw shot right to the button, and the 7-2 scoreline was the final one, and allowed the Russian team to move to the quarterfinals, which are scheduled for Sunday morning. Between now and then, though, lots of play in the B roads and C roads, where 6 more teams will be qualifiers into the quarters, and the one of the games this evening being played across on sheet on rink number 3. We'll see the winner of that also reach the quarterfinals, and at the moment the Binya Felcher team from Switzerland are leading 5 shots to 2 over the second Russian team here, that skipped by Anna Sidorova. So with one final look at the scoreline, 7 shots to 2 for Moiseeva. It's good night from me, Richard Harding, and Mark Callan at the International Bern Ladies Cup. And we will be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the next round of play being broadcast by World Curling TV from this event. So until then, a very good night, and thank you for watching.